I installed the new iOS 27 Developer Beta 1 right after WWDC ended last week, and since then I've found a ton of insane features, including some that no one's ever shown. By far the most important and most needed feature in this update wasn't even the new Siri AI, but don't worry, we'll get to that in a second. Go into settings in this new appearance section here, you'll now find this new liquid glass slider. I know, finally, for once Apple will actually listen. You can now go from super glassy and transparent to a look that's pretty much got no glass at all, which is something I'm a huge fan of. And hot take, if this update had no other new features and just this, I would be perfectly happy with it. Of course, the other huge feature is that new Siri is finally fixed in this update. It's called Siri AI, which is no surprise to anybody, and it lives in the dynamic island where you can now swipe down to talk to Siri. The side button still activates it like it did before in iOS 26. Now it has its very own dedicated app, which is new this year, where you can chat with Siri just like you would with ChatGPT or any other chatbot. Honestly, that's a little weird to me because Apple's AI team actually confirmed in an interview last year that
if every time you hear us market Apple Intelligence, you hear in your mind chatbot, which of course we were 100% not thinking, well, then you're going to think this. But
as it turns out, Apple's on its last straw, and that's what they're going to do. Anyway, Siri can now search through your phone and store all of your data in its index, which basically means everything in your device is stored locally, so Siri can access it. That way, Siri actually knows what you're saying and is able to go into your phone if it needs to get answers. I've asked Siri to do a number of things, and it's been incredibly impressive when I've asked it for a specific response. Loki doesn't even feel real considering how bad the AI was for the last 2 years, and Apple just randomly spawned in with a crazy new AI system. I guess the big thing is I've just noticed everything feels so natural, so I guess I'll finally be using Siri again and not acting like it doesn't even exist like I've been doing for the past 5 years. There's a few other visual changes here and there that just feel a little bit more polished than last year, so that's nice to see. If you're using an older iPhone, it's actually a lot faster now when you take pictures, and post-processing is so much quicker than before. And after you take photos on a newer iPhone, there's now some new editing tools that use Apple Intelligence. There's Cleanup, there's Reframe, and Extend. Cleanup was on iOS 26, you might remember, but it has some massive improvements in this update. Tap this auto button up here, and there's actually a hidden high quality mode that I've never heard anyone talk about yet. Now, this does take a little bit longer than usual, but trust me, it's worth the wait for the result you're going to get. Extend is probably my least favorite new addition to the new AI photo tools, because even though it's supposed to add more detail that makes the photo look better, the context just isn't up to the level of where I want it to be. Reframe is similar to Extend, but it changes the entire perspective of photos using context of what's already in the photo, kind of like Spatial Scenes does, but just with your existing photo. There aren't many changes when taking videos in the camera app this year, but one that really stood out to me when I was testing it, I actually found by mistake. You just go to a video you've taken, and there's now a new option under the 3 dots menu that allows you to save the frame of a video directly with all the metadata included, which kind of makes sense because why were we just screenshotting the frames of videos for the past like 15 years, bro? Safari gets the next big changes, and honestly, I don't really know what to say because I don't use Safari. I use ArcSearch as my browser, and no, this isn't about to be a sponsor, I promise. But just to show all of you who do use Safari, you can now have all of your tabs organized to group relevant tabs together and make them quicker to find. If you've ever installed extensions on Safari like you can on a computer, there's now a describe an extension feature. So far, that hasn't really worked for me, and Apple probably hasn't done enough testing on it because it's only worked a few times for me, and I haven't been able to get anything on camera of it actually working. But if you scroll down again, you'll see this new Notify Me feature, and this is actually something really useful that I've been using on a computer for a while, where you can ask for notifications when things change in price on different websites, or just ask for other changes when websites are updated. There's also a new change in the Wallet app, where if you scan photos of a bill with visual intelligence after dinner, then you can split the cost and charge different people their fair share automatically using Apple Pay and Apple Cash if they have an iPhone. But if you have an Android, then I guess all the food's on the Blue Bubble guys. It's also a new feature that allows you to create a pass or add something to a wallet if it doesn't already support the add to wallet feature. This is super clutch for all the Raising Cane fans like me that want to add their Caniac Club cards to wallet. Now, It's as simple as just opening up your Apple Wallet. Going back to text, messages actually got some little changes too. Apple Intelligence can now suggest replies based on an entire conversation and not just the previous text that somebody sent. Also, when you're sending pictures or videos or something else, there's a new progress bar so you always know things actually got sent. Next, there's a hidden feature in settings. Now if you go to sound and haptics, there's finally an individual slider for each type of media, including the wake up alarm. It's also worth checking out the changes in Image Playground this year, because those are actually pretty significant. Genmoji are becoming much more realistic now, and generative AI models have overall gotten a lot more accurate and efficient this year, unlike the AI slop we had in previous AI versions. Also found that the changes that you can make to images if the prompts don't work are actually really well implemented and actually use the context of what you say in the right way, especially on the lock screen, where you can now make AI wallpapers based on photos and change them to different styles like animation or vintage, and also generate new ones. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you've already got a wallpaper set if you like, you could just zoom out to expand that when editing existing wallpapers. For now, all the generative AI stuff is unlimited for beta testers and developers, but later on I'm pretty sure it's going to be capped at a daily limit, but we'll have to see in September. Also on the lock screen, you can now move your clock to the top so you can see your wallpaper better and make it look cleaner, but honestly, to me, I just don't see that working out because I check my phone for the time pretty often and it's so small. Instead, if I still want to be able to see more of my wallpaper, I can now just clear the now playing widget, which is another hidden feature. Alright, how about I speedrun through some crazy hidden gem features real quick, because I'm sure you're tired of me yapping. If you have the timer shortcut in your control center, there's now a super sick new UI design for setting timers, and it's complete with some nice haptics. When you play videos, you can now generate custom on-device subtitles directly in the Photos app. Also in the Photos app, there's a new Captured by Me section that shows only the photos you've actually taken and nothing else. And if you still use your phone as, well, you know, a phone for making calls, then Apple Intelligence now gathers all necessary files and everything related to the person you're calling and puts them directly on the contact card so you don't have to worry about switching apps in the middle of a really important call. That was a lot, and I'm sure there will be a lot more to come in the betas releasing in the next few months, so I'll be sure to keep you updated, but for now, make sure to like this video for some more hype tech content coming really soon.